Hi, Michelle Visage. What's the tea, girl?
Oh, so much tea. It's spilling all over the
Oh,
place.
honey. You know what? I went to, I'm not going to say it on the air, but I went to a very famous person's house over the weekend. I'll tell you off the air.
Okay.
It was a job interview, honestly.
Okay.
And, but he had his Beverly Hills, he had servants and people, and we had afternoon tea. And the woman brought this tea and it was so delicious. It had put milk in it. I didn't ask her to put milk in it.
Yeah.
But I guess that's what the English people do.
Not always. They ask you if you want milk.
Yeah.
They don't assume.
Well, she assumed. I took one sip of that tea, and this is authentic English tea.
You ran to the bathroom?
Delicious. No, I didn't run to the bathroom. It was so good.
Do you know what kind it was?
I'm sure it was English breakfast tea. I'm sure it was whatever everybody has.
So proper tea. So it's either Earl Grey or English breakfast.
Yeah, I bet it was Earl Grey. Oh my God,
I love
it was
Earl Grey.
delicious.
Yeah.
So good. But it just it made me, my goal with money, and I know it's gauche to talk about money, but I'd always thought, you know what, my goal
It's realistic.
is $250 million. That's my goal.
It's totally a great goal.
But after I left this man's house,
It went up to $1 billion?
no, it only went up an extra $250 million.
So
So 500 million is my thing.
Okay.
500 million is my projected place.
Okay.
But then, of course, I talked to Randy on the phone.
Yeah.
And he says, well, okay, then I'm upping mine to 600 million.
Oh, he has to one up you.
Yeah. So last night, I'm emailing him. And I said, okay, so now I'm $750 million.
Okay, I'm going to start at 20.
20 million?
Yeah, is that good?
Michelle, you cannot maintain your lifestyle with 20. You have to have more. Even to maintain the 20.
I drive a Honda.
No. To maintain the 20.
Yeah.
It's going to take an extra 30 just to maintain
So
that.
should we do 50?
Do 50.
All right, I'll do 50 million.
Do 50.
Okay, I'll put 50 million out to the universe.
Now, do you have any idea why you haven't made $50 million yet?
No.
Because I'm convinced it has to do with a certain blockage.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know what the blockage is,
What?
but I can tell you one thing.
What?
As I work on myself more and more and I start putting stuff out into the universe and I started meditating, it's definitely clearing up. Things are happening. You can see it.
Yeah.
Things are moving. Things are now working their way through the intestinal tract.
Right.
Instead of hanging out, in the spleen or the gallbladder.
Because let me tell you, that money is waiting for you. And the truth is, there is a lot of money in the world.
Yes.
And most people have a horrible relationship to abundance. Money, love, abundance in any form it can come. Most people have a block there.
Agreed.
And they don't feel, what's the word I'm looking for? They don't feel like they deserve it.
Yes.
They don't just feel like they don't deserve it. So it's
Worthy.
interesting. Worthy. There you go. It's interesting to me as I get older to clear out the areas that don't serve me anymore.
How does one clear out the blocked areas?
Well, first of all, you have to say goodbye to your family. No, not your children and your husband.
But which you already have. You
Right.
know? What do you mean? Do you mean the glamoroners?
There's a thing where people who love you a lot of times want to say, we are this. Don't you forget, Missy, who you are.
Yes.
We do this. We do it like this.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that has to do with abundance and money. And, that people... I can't tell you how many times in my lifetime I've had to say goodbye to people.
I'm lucky that I didn't have that growing up, but a lot of people do. You're absolutely right.
You support a lot of people.
I do. I support my entire family.
Right.
Yeah.
And, when you think about that, you do it out of guilt?
No. But I mean, at this point...
because you support your father.
No, I don't. He's on his own now, but I did for many years. I had to have that talk, which is clearing up a blockage,
right.
where I said, after my mom died, my mom left my dad in debt, and I had to pull him out of debt, which is fine.
Yeah.
And he is now self-sufficient, but every day I'll hear about how hard it is, and
Right.
I said, okay, that's life. I never came into this world to be your mother.
Right.
I came into this world to be your daughter. This is the way that the world works. And I said to him when I had to kind of part ways in a sense, but I didn't. I said, okay, now that we're cleared up, I paid for their house. Things were really bad. I bought them a house. I bought them a car. My dad turned around and paid me back and bought the house back from me.
Oh, my goodness.
So he definitely, I said to him, I'm not your mother. And I think that hit him hard, and he was able to turn it around for himself. So with him being able to do that, it did it for me too. Yeah. And I do support my husband and my children, but that's an agreement because my husband's a stay-at-home dad. But other than that, no more. Yeah. I did that, and it took balls for me to say, because you know me, I'll support everybody. It took, and I had a nanny and I had everybody, and I had to kind of lay down the law at one point and say, I can't do this anymore. Because even the pressure of just paying rent and paying a mortgage is enough for me to buckle, because I don't have 20 million or the 1 million.
Well, you will have 20 million.
So in order to help the listeners, clearing that blockage is difficult.
It is difficult because there's a certain sense of responsibility. We've known lots of performers over the years who are big stars, and then they're not so big stars, and a lot of times they lose fortunes because their relationship to abundance and money is coming from a place of really a sort of a peasant mentality of thinking that I've got to pull my whole family up. I know it sounds cruel, but it's actually not cruel.
No,
it's actually. It's the real.
And it's not your responsibility, and people have to let that go.
Yeah.
It's attached to guilt.
It's attached to
guilt.
Which
is attached to fear.
And it's attached to feeling like if you don't do it, you'll be ostracized and you won't have them.
Yeah. Not true.
It's true. Right.
And if it is true, then you don't want them. I know it's tough to hear, but it's true.
Yeah. Man, I'll tell you, if I had the 750, and when I get it, I want to create a factory like Andy Warhol's factory, but 100 times bigger. And I would produce this art, different things, accessories, and get all these young creative people to have ideas, like an idea factory.
Love that.
I love that.
And
it wouldn't
you're
be for
going to buy
profit.
me a black Corvette.
Yeah. Oh, honey, I'm going to get you I'm going to get you a
just
black
one.
Corvette from every year they were made.
Okay, I just need one.
From every year they made Corvettes.
Not even that greedy.
I don't care. This is what I'm going to get for you.
750 million.
I'm going to get you a black Corvette from every year that they made a Corvette.
Done.
That's what we're doing.
Deal.
All right. So when we come back, we got a lot of good stuff going up. I'm going to surprise you with it. But we got Ross Mathews all the way.
Wait.
I love him so much.
Me
So stay with us. This episode is sponsored by Casper. Casper is an online retailer of premium mattresses at a fraction of the price. Now, you can get $50 toward any mattress purchase by visiting casper.com/RU. That's using the offer code RU. Casper.com/RU. What are you waiting for? Go and get you a gorgeous mattress. You can get started today by using that offer code Casper.com/RU. This episode is brought to you by Squarespace, who I just love. I adore Squarespace. Anytime anybody's making it easier to do something that what used to be very complex, I'm all for that. And that's exactly what Squarespace has done. They've made it so easy for all of you out there to make a website.
By yourself.
By yourself.
You don't got to hire nobody.
That's so 20th century, child. We sisters are doing it for who?
Themselves.
Thank you. Now, you can make a gorgeous website in minutes using their beautiful templates and simplistic drag and drop platform. Now, what could be better than dragging and dropping?
I could think of nothing.
Nothing. All right. Now, when you're ready to purchase a plan, get 10% off with the offer code RU. That's squarespace.com, offer code RU. I want to introduce our special guest who's here, who I absolutely love so much. So smart.
I know.
So smart.
Not only smart, though, funny, witty, and the most important, loving and sincere, and a good friend.
Lovely. Ross Mathews is here.
About me?
You.
Who's coming? They sound great. Hi. I love that you're entertaining Troop Beverly Hills overseas.
That's what I do.
That's phenomenal.
Well, she's putting, she hasn't had a gag reflex since birth.
I got to put it to good use. My father stopped using it, so somebody has to.
Oh my God! Well, you haven't lost it, have you, Michelle?
No, darling. A girl never lose that trick.
Well, it's fun. funny, because, I remember the first time Ross was a guest judge on our show.
I do too.
All the producers got together and said, oh my God, he is so good.
Well, let me tell you something. And I'm a fan of the show, so I went from couch to judge's table like that quickly. And I was so overwhelmed by it. So the fact that you guys were like nice and had me back and have me back again is like beyond.
And the funny thing was when people had asked me over the years being interviewed, who were some of your favorite guest judges, Ross was always at the top of my list.
Yeah,
Swear to God.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's nuts.
Because you know what? You have a loveliness about you. In fact, I'm doing a show, taping a show now called Skin Wars, and I'm a judge on that. And I stole one of Ross's, the way he talked to the thing. Because this is what I did to the person.
You didn't just steal it. I I would have given it to you.
Well, there's also a bit of bitchy in that judge room.
Well, this is what Ross said, and I swear I did it yesterday.
Okay.
I said, so and so, I got to tell you, I am your biggest fan. I'm your biggest fan.
Yeah.
But today just wasn't your day.
Yes. I believe strongly in lube. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm not going to...
I don't. I'm just a bareback.
Really?
We're lucky if you spit.
I don't even spit. No.
Right?
No.
But I do believe you need to just sort of put a bow on something a little bit. These people are trying, especially on Drag Race,
Trying doesn't work, darling.
Trying warrants respect.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I try to give them the respect of a bow on this pile of shit that I'm
Absolutely. And it's great. It's great. And when
before
we started taping, we were talking about children. And when you're raising children, you have to do that.
You
have
do?
to.
Well, thanks for telling me.
Coming from a mother of two. Here.
That's where it all went wrong.
You have to, prop them up and then give them what they need to know.
I just grew up that way. I grew up with a lot of positivity, and I think it sort of formed who I am. I have a very glass half full sort of outlook on life.
Yes.
And so I just sort of try to encourage that outward. But listen, I will tell you also the major turning points in my life when I feel like I've become a better person is when someone gave it to me hard with no lube.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do need that.
I agree.
But when I'm sitting next to you, honey, they already have that.
Yeah.
So I'm giving them a different seasoning.
Yes. Well, that's true. Well, the universe makes sure that you don't get lube. That's the thing about, raising children. We've talked about this many times. When a baby bird is born and the mother has to push that bird out of the nest, and it's a harsh reality.
Yeah.
It is so hard. And most people, humans, can't do it because they think, I can't face watching my kid stumble or fall like that. But that's the way people learn.
Why do you think some birds need to be pushed out of the nest and some of us are like, get out of my way. I got to get out of this fucking nest. Yeah. I mean, that's how I was. I was like, could this bitch fly yet?
Yeah.
If I can't fly, I'm going to rent a Ford Taurus and just get out of here. That's what I did.
What I'm concerned about that whole sentence is why you chose a Ford Taurus.
Because that's what I had when I left. You want to know what? I had a blue two-door Ford Taurus with a red stripe, and that's what I drove away from my little house in a farm town in.
As we say, you sprayed gravel.
Yeah. But it's like this,
Eat my dust.
I swear, I left my mother's house when I was 15.
Oh, do you remember the moment when you left?
Yeah, well, I had a lot of trouble in school. I moved in with my sister. My older sister, insisted that I come and live with her. And I sort of put up a fight initially. Then I thought, you know what? She's right. I need to get out of this place. And I moved in with her, stayed in San Diego for 6 months. And then her husband said to me, we're moving to Atlanta. You want to come? And I said, sure. And I remember getting on I-8 out of San Diego. I remember the moment. I knew that this was the rest of my life would be different, and it was.
To be 15 and have no cares in the world again.
And be able to say, okay, I'm moving across country and mean it.
Yes.
And be okay with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now someone said to you, you want to move to Atlanta? Right. I mean, Atlanta's great, but it's like, I have things to do. And there's this restaurant I really like.
And there's Erewhon.
Yeah. Well, it's different, though, if it were another city, because I've already lived in Atlanta.
Right. Okay.
San Francisco, you'd go.
Would you go?
Yeah, I would. I could move to San Francisco now. Of course, for business, it wouldn't work out for business for me.
They have their shuttles.
They have shuttles.
I think about it. I'm not kidding you, twice a week about moving to San Francisco.
Really?
I just love that city so much, and I think, okay, it's a 45-minute flight. Sometimes I'm in traffic for 2 hours. It'd be easier. It'd be faster to get here from San Francisco.
Yeah.
It's such a great city. Isn't it nice? And this is so inside talk. People who don't. But when you live in a town that is industry, whether it's Pennsylvania and it's steel or whatever the industry is, sometimes you just need to get away from it.
Yep.
Yes.
Because you become so consumed with it. Like
overwhelming.
I'd like to stop thinking about work or stop thinking about myself for an afternoon.
Right.
And I feel like in San Francisco, I could do that.
Is that why you retreat to Palm Springs a lot?
That's why I have a house in Palm Springs, which is like an hour 45 for me outside of LA, because it's not about that. It's just about like, where's brunch?
Yeah.
You know?
And Ross goes to trivia. Explain your day, because
do you know this about me, Rue?
Literally, I dream of his days.
You should come with me. I go to Palm Springs anytime I'm not working. If I look at the calendar, there's nothing for tomorrow, I get in a car and I go to my place in Palm Springs. I wake up early and I go for a walk.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm an active senior citizen. I wake up early and I go for a walk.
What's early for you?
6:15.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rue wakes up at 4.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so we'll go but for me early. Okay, 6:15. But I put on a sneaker, like a sensible sneaker, and I just take.
Looks like a pump, though.
Looks like a pump. Feels like a sneaker, and I just go around, right? And then I go.
When you go around, are you going around for exercise? Like you're walking in the neighborhood?
Sure.
Okay.
I grab coffee and I walk and I say hi to people, and then I get in the car and I go to Don't Judge, because I don't shop here politically,
Right.
Except for when I'm in Palm Springs.
What's Don't Judge?
Don't judge what I'm about to say.
Oh,
Where
I thought it was the
go.
name of a store.
No. I shop at a place that I would normally not shop at, but in Palm Springs I go to.
You don't have to justify.
Super Walmart every day because it's big and I like to see the people, right? And people at Walmart at 7:15 don't know who I am,
Right.
And they are a chromosome short of.
So it's fine.
Well, but it's an anthropological investigation.
Yes. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm also buying more elastic clothes because I only wear elastic when I'm there. And then,
for the buffet.
Yes. And then, so then I do penny slots where my max is $10. And then, Rue, this is what you would love to do with me every day at 4:30.
Sidebar.
Yes.
On your penny slots, do you do max bets?
Oh my God. Who do you think I am? No.
Okay, because I go through $10 in 5 seconds with max bets.
I do 15 lines at 1 penny.
Okay.
I have no idea what you're talking about, and I don't really want to know, actually.
You don't think you'd want you to get off on this?
Penny slots. And we put a limit. My limit is 20. He's I'm way a high spender. But if you do max bets, you'll go through $20 in 2 seconds.
But $10 lasts me an hour and a half.
Oh my!
Are you kidding?
Goodness.
No.
Wow.
It's free Diet Coke.
Now, do they have this is it Morongo or at the Walmart? They have these slot machines.
No. So the slot machines there's a spa casino right in downtown Palm Springs, right a hop skip from my house, right? So I go there, and then at 4:00 I go to trivia. Okay.
Every day.
Trivia at my favorite gay bar, Toucans. Okay. You go in, it's called Buzz Time Trivia, and you just pick up, it's playing on the screen there, and everybody in the bar is playing it.
Do you bet money?
No, it's all free. Everyone in the bar is playing it, and the bar is playing against all the other bars who have it. Okay, and it's all day long.
Right.
So you sit there, and it's questions from everything from who won the Grammy for da-da-da-da-da to this artist in the 1600s, blah, 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 blah. And you play against senior citizens, and he cheers. You're like, good job, Nipper, and you raise your Pinot Grigio to him. And then you go home and have a sensible dinner at 6:45 and go in the pool, and then you're in bed by 8:30.
That sounds...
heaven.
It sounds like a gorgeous, fulfilling life. I love it. And I love Palm Springs.
So come do it with me sometime.
I usually stay at the Viceroy, which I absolutely love.
It's beautiful. It changed a name for some reason, but it's the same thing.
It's no longer the Viceroy?
Avalon now? Avalon.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, that sounds like a heavenly day.
Beautiful.
Honest to God.
It's beautiful. And this is every day that I'm there. So would you experience it with me for one day?
I would love to.
We could skip the Walmart if you don't want to go.
No, I do. I love Walmart. I love looking and seeing.
People watching.
Well, and not only that, but I like to go into stores to see at retail what's going on in the world, because the people at Walmart, all these big corporations, they know what people want, and they only stock their shelves with what people want. So I like to go and investigate what the higher ups, their researchers told them. So
let me tell you,
love to see the shelves.
It's very telling.
Yes,
they love a crop pant and pashmina.
Yes, the crop pant is here to stay.
Still,
like a long, but it's more like a spandexy sort of pashmina, it's not like you're thinking beautifully knitted pashmina. Right. This is almost like a spandex flowy pashmina, like a
sweater,
like a wrap kind of thing. Like your arms kind of go through it, but you wear it with a stretched pant crop.
Yes,
you understand? You see that woman?
I do. I see her.
Her name's B. Arthur.
Yeah.
No, I love that look. I love that. No, so San Francisco is one of your favorite cities. Yes. It's my favorite American city.
Yeah.
Is it? What's your favorite American city?
It would be like in terms of big city, it would be San Francisco or Chicago. Minneapolis is great because it's small, but it feels like a little city. And Miami.
Guys.
What?
Best city in the world.
New York.
Thank you.
New York.
Yes. Hell.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask
RuPaul,
you.
Andre Charles is where I met you. That is the birth of us.
I love New York, but when I say favorite city, and I'm thinking of really just one for me, my favorite American city would be San Francisco. You know?
Really?
Yeah. It's a place I would want to go. If somebody said, where do you want to go right now? I say, I'm going to go to San Francisco.
I would go to New York City in America in a heartbeat. My favorite city.
Well, when was the last time you were there?
I don't know, a couple months ago.
Yeah, because
it's changed.
It's changed. It's different from what, I love it. I love it.
I know you do. It's not the New York we fell in love with. It's not the New York that we experienced, the coming of age. What we did was unbelievable. To be there through Wigstock and see you on stage, to be there through the Club Kid period, it's not that anymore.
Right.
It's corporate and taken over and gentrified, and I get it. But it still has a heart and soul like no other city. You walk down the street, and there is a vibration there that the only city that comes close to that for me is London. There's a vibe on the street that you can't come close to. I get chills talking about it.
But if somebody said, what city do you want to go to right now?
City. New York City. Do you not hear me?
But don't you find like New York is great,
America,
but like on day 3, you're kind of like, oh, just a little stretch.
That's what it is.
Maybe because I'm a West Coast person.
No, that's my husband too.
I've grown up here and I'm used to a little space.
Yeah. No, but what happens is when you go to New York, you have to acclimate. It takes about a full 7 days for your body rhythm to catch up to what that is. And then after that, you've got it.
That's when I usually leave.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like when people say, how can you go to Disney for a vacation? Because when you come back from Disney, you need a vacation from your vacation.
Yeah.
Right.
I think New York City has that same kind of feel. If you're not, when you're born and bred there, it's what I know. It's in my blood. I think, which is why I can assimilate so easily in London because it's got the same flow.
Because you're British, darling.
Look at me, sweetie. Don't I scream Union Jack? I bleed red, white, and blue.
Red, white, and blue who?
Yes.
But I get it. Yeah, you do need to go.
Yeah.
I got to breathe. Oh, God.
I would like to live there someday because I'd love to catch up to it. I think that I think it takes a certain kind of person that could really catch on to that. But, it's just like in a conversation with someone and you get their cadence and you sort of, when you're interviewing someone, I feel like I could get the cadence of New York if I got there.
Absolutely. And that's the thing is that there are so many different people there and from all over the world that it does feed your soul. Now, I know you're from Washington. What city, what town?
Well, let's not call it a city.
Yeah.
It's called Mt Vernon, Washington.
Mount Vernon,
We export tulips. I've told you to go to the Tulip Festival in April. This is like fields, like Holland. We export more than a Holland. More tulips than all of Holland, yeah. So it's
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
So it's, not to brag, but it's just fields of I would wait for the bus in the morning.
Take that, Rotterdam.
Yeah. I grew up, I picked spinach. I worked on a conveyor belt at a bulb factory. I sold berries. Really agricultural town.
Dingle?
Beautiful. Not dingleberries. No, the rasp and the straw variety.
Well, the ashberry is the sweetest of all berries. Yeah. I usually go to New Jersey every year for the Asbury
Park Festival?
Yes. Oh, it's so delicious. Oh, they're so juicy.
Dark and juicy.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, got a little right here.
Well, we're talking with Ross Mathews. We're going to take a little breaky poo real quick, and
you said poo.
Yes, I did. We'll be right back.
Oh my God.
This episode is sponsored by Casper. Casper is an amazing online retailer of premium mattresses for a fraction of the price.
It's not Jennifer Lopez's boy toy.
Oh, right. That's his name, isn't it?
Yes. No, it's actually a mattress. That's what we're talking about.
Well, and you've had one for a long time. Did you have a story about
a
your
boy toy or a mattress?
Well, your babysitter, right?
Yeah. I had a babysitter too.
But they're not babies. You have people who watch your children.
They were watching my dogs.
Oh.
My children are too old for anybody to watch them.
You have dog sitters?
Dog sitters, because we went away on the Euro cruise thing, right? And my 2 gays, they were coming over to stay at the house with the dogs, because nobody's going to take care of the dogs better than the gays.
Of course.
The gay uncles, the Gunkles. Right? So they were coming over, and all they could talk about was sleeping on my Casper mattress.
Oh, are they a couple?
They're a couple. Yeah, they're married.
Okay.
They were so happy to come over and sleep. I don't know what they did on my Casper mattress. I don't want to know what Uncle Jeff and Uncle Steve did on our Casper mattress, but they had a really good time.
So the reviews are in.
The reviews are in. They loved our Casper mattress.
Wow. And what is it about a Casper mattress that you love the most?
Well, I slept on intercoil mattresses my whole life because that's all that kind of we knew. I know Tempur-Pedic kind of flooded the industry a few years ago, but for me, they were so like double the price of even the high-end mattresses. So if a high-end mattress was like $4,000, Tempur-Pedic was like $8,000, and some of them went up to like $10,000. It was ridiculous.
Wow.
And the thing about Tempur-Pedic is, I told you, and I've said it before on the ads, when you sleep on a Tempur-Pedic mattress, you sleep in the mattress, not on the mattress.
Right.
So it takes a while to get used to. This is basically the combination of bounce and sleeping in it. So it has the Tempur-Pedic feel if you're used to Tempur-Pedic, but it also has kind of a bounce if you're used to an intercoil. It's perfection. I'm telling you, it gets the best of both worlds.
Well, and you brought up a good point, too, because, Casper is all about cutting out that middleman.
Yes.
That whole department store storyline.
Yeah.
They mark the prices up so much. Well, you're not going to get that at Casper. No. You're going to get a quality premium mattress at a fraction of the price. Now, just go to Casper.com/Rue using the offer code RU, and you're going to get a steal of a deal.
Yes, and $50 towards any mattress purchase. I'm telling you, it's worth it. Do it today. Casper.com/Rue. Use the offer code RU.
All right, we are back. Michelle and I right now, we are doing everything. I'm working. I never have a moment's rest. I did go on vacation for a week, but I'm back to work.
We didn't even talk about Hawaii.
I know, to Maui and everything. But so what is your life like ever since the Jay Leno show where you were discovered? When you sprayed gravel out of Mt Vernon, Washington.
Yes.
How much time did it take for you to be Ross the intern on the Jay Leno show?
And is Mt Vernon still can we still say money earn in Mt Vernon?
No, you may not say that.
Is Mt Vernon, Washington?
It's a different Mt Vernon.
No, that's New Jersey.
Money earning Mt Vernon, Washington.
I met Samuel L. Jackson once on the Oscar red carpet, and I go, it was when my dad was still alive. I go, would you say hi to my dad? He loves you in Mt Vernon, Washington. He goes, money earned in Mt Vernon? I'm like, not that one.
Different connotation.
Is the Mount Vernon you're talking in New York, not New Jersey?
Vernon, New Jersey. Mount Vernon, New York.
Right.
Mount Vernon, Washington.
Different
not
one.
Money earning.
No.
Tulip burning, Mount Vernon.
There you go. That's it. That's it.
Hilarious.
So how much time between those two?
Well, I left like 30 seconds after I graduated high school. I went to college, and then I went to college right outside of LA. And it was in my senior year I got the internship, and then so halfway through my senior year they put me on TV, and I was still living in the dorms.
Wait, you really were an intern?
Yeah, I was working behind the scenes.
He's an actual intern.
One morning I was getting them coffee, and then that afternoon they were saying, hey, do you want to go interview some? And I was like, okay, because they knew I was funny. They knew I had an opinion. I wasn't like in their face, but I thought I've always wanted to work in television and talk specifically. I just have such a passion for it. If I wasn't going to be on air, I wanted to be writing or producing or something. So I would ask for meetings with all these people. Like, can I just pick your brain? How does it work?
Yeah.
And they thought I was funny. And so it was those people who said, Jay, you know who you really should send out is that guy. And then before that aired, I had another assignment. Before that aired, they sent me to the Olympics in Salt Lake City. And then it was just nonstop for 14 years on that show.
You were there for 14 years?
I started in 2001 and I was there till the end.
Oh,
Isn't
my
that crazy?
goodness.
I know.
It's not crazy. Actually, it happened for a reason. You manifested it. You were there for a reason. You have a magic about you that a lot of people don't have.
Well, you know what the trick was? Never thinking about it. Never overthinking it. And what does it mean if I...
Yeah.
And never thinking about what I was saying.
Well, that's the gift of youth, isn't it?
Well, it's the gift of... trusting your gut. I feel like this town does this to you, as you start to then think about, well, what can I do next? Then you start kind of losing what it was at the very beginning, which is just it was just this unfiltered, I hate to use the word light, but I mean that's what it felt like. Just you know? And so I felt like almost a year and a half ago trying, and I remember I don't know if you remember, but you asked me into your dressing room. We had this conversation. I was in the middle of thinking, what am I going to do next? And I had just it was after my show was canceled, and I just kind of felt like the light had dimmed, and I was questioning everything. And it hasn't been until recently that I've just been like back to the unfiltered, never think again. And I feel like when you say you're working, constantly going, once I turned that light back on, that's when I started working and everything again. Yeah. Isn't that funny? When you start doubting your own unfiltered whatever is when the world sort of shuts you down.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting? That's your ego getting in there, getting in the way, mucking things up.
It's your ego, and it's the insecurities that I never had, but other people planted. Yeah. You know what I mean? That all of a sudden, when there was a focus group looking at what I was doing or this and that, like all of a sudden I started thinking about it. I started thinking about it.
Right.
As opposed to doing it.
And that puts up the blockades.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, well, the light, it blocks that light, your natural light. And you were right the first time, and they were right to see that you had that something special that made you really interesting. Now, had you moved to LA to get into show business?
I had decided to become a talk show host at 8 years old.
Yes.
I remember I was watching Regis and Kathy Lee, who I think is a brilliant, genius person.
So Kathy Lee?
Kathy Lee Gifford.
Oh, so do we.
No,
okay.
She carried that show.
Yes. And so I was watching, my mom had summers off, and I was watching them, and they were interviewing a celebrity, and Kathy Lee said something funny, like wackadoodle. And my mom laughed, and all I've ever wanted to do is talk to celebrities and make my mom happy. And they were doing that. And I remember at 8 years old being like, oh my God, well then that is my perfect job. I'll interview celebrities and make mom happy. Yeah. And so then that has just been my go-to ever since. That's what I've always wanted to do. So I've just done it.
Have you made mom happy?
Yes.
What's she like? What's her name?
My mom's name, you're going to love this,
is
Gaye Mathews.
Gaye Mathews.
There's
I love it.
Gayle?
Nope, Gaye. So we get Christmas cards to Gaye and Gayer.
Oh my God, of course you do.
She is this way. She loves to laugh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what's really worked.
She had the perfect child.
Well, yeah, we talk all the time. I mean, she just had a birthday. I sent her a KitchenAid mixer, and she sent me a video of her using it.
Oh,
you know
brilliant.
What I mean?
From her phone, from her iPhone.
Oh, she knows. Now she's using emojis.
Oh, my
Shut
goodness.
up.
Wow.
Has she used the poop emoji yet?
Not yet.
She will.
I don't know. I don't know that I want her to. I don't know in what scenario that would happen.
Do you have siblings?
I hope she's okay. I have a brother, Eric. Yeah, my brother Eric is fabulous. He's very straight, very hunter straight, and But they're all we're very close family.
And so, and that light we were talking about, does that come from Gaye?
No, it doesn't. I honestly feel like it started with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just felt it ever since I was born.
Nothing wrong with that.
That it was. That's why I felt different where I lived. I felt not different in a bad way. I just felt like, okay, I got to move on. This light's a different color.
Isn't that interesting? Because I'm sure we talked about birds falling out of trees, and it's interesting how one in the flock or two or who knows how many have this other calling and they can't explain it, but they follow it. And the courage to follow it is another thing, because a lot of people want to do all these things, but very few are moved to action.
Well, it doesn't feel courageous, but I certainly feel it's different because I get emails and tweets and things a lot from people. You know, we do my podcast, Straight Talk with Ross.
And it's called what with Ross?
Straight Talk.
Straight Talk with Ross.
Of course.
And where can people find it?
Oh, straighttalkwithross.com. That wasn't meant to be an obvious plug. I was trying to. But in that show, people reach out to me and they ask me questions. And a lot of the time it's like, what do I do? How do I get there? What do I've always wanted, they're almost asking permission. Like, I've always wanted to do this. How do I do this? And I don't have the answer. The only answer I can think of is like, well, if you want it, why aren't you doing it?
Well, let's just
that's not to be insensitive. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
but
I'm interrupting you.
I honestly don't understand it. How you don't do it if you want it.
Because you started this sentence by saying, I don't know if it's courageous. And I just want to back that up and say it is courageous. Courage comes in way different shapes, colors, sizes, forms. Courage for you to follow your dream coming from the same place that in Mt Vernon that also produced Glenn Beck, one of the biggest homophobes on the face of the earth.
Congratulations on knowing that. And James Caviezel, who was Jesus in Passion of the Christ.
He's from there too.
Yeah.
He's gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
But
everyone from there.
For you to follow your dreams in a tulip producing city that produced also that is a big courageous jump and move. Anybody that follows their dream, let's say in any city, in any capacity, is bravery and courage in a different shape.
You're absolutely right.
Okay. I can see that. I never felt that. It was just like, well, why wouldn't I? You know, like it was like
because people are scared.
Like breathing. It felt like breathing to me. It's like, of course,
I understand completely. But back to your earlier point, which is that light, that voice, that that light that speaks to you, the courage to follow that, because there are these other forces that are in your own head, in the atmosphere, that are saying you can't do it, And so that is huge. It's a huge amount of courage.
Well, I never felt those voices until other people were saying, you know what I mean? Until, I don't know. I had, not to get too, but I had like laser focus on what I always wanted to do, which was, and then I had my talk show on Hella Ross on E! After Chelsea. And then when that went away, it was when you and I had our moment in your dressing room where I had laser focus since 8 years old. And then what do you do once you've kind of done it? And then what's next? You know what I mean? So I feel like I've had a year and a half to just sort of like try to figure it out and like push a pause button. But then in that time, I created the Straight Talk brand. Yeah. I did that podcast. And then that's what I'm talking about. Ready? And it's not even until just recently, as I'm looking back on the past year and a half, I've sort of thought like, okay, here I am. Maybe I should get my shit together. And in my downtime, I created another brand, and that's not tooting my tutor, but I kind of just looked back at it and thought like, can you fucking take a second and like, just like appreciate that you did that? And now the show is going on Sirius. I just started on Sirius XM.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And I think that's what I'm figuring out as a grown up with looking back, and I'm still in the middle of the process, is like, I create and connect. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, you can really break yourself down. What are you when you are in your rest mode, your standby mode? What do you do? Mm-hmm. I create and connect, and like I'm really just coming to peace and to terms with who I am in my standby mode. As I just turned 36, and it feels so good. I'm actually just like patted myself on the back for the first time in like 20 years.
I love that. And because 36, and life goes in these sevens, 35 is one of those periods where it's a renewal period. So
Say this again. Sevens?
Sevens. The most important moments in your life are 7, 14, 21, 28.
Here comes the math.
So true.
Yeah. And then 35.
21 on TV. 28, I met my partner Salvador. And 35.
That's how it works. Yeah. So,
That's true.
And just to backtrack a minute, for people who are going through that sort of, what do I do next period?
Yes.
The truth is what you do. It's very simple. What you do is you follow your heart. You go with what you like. I learn how to be motivated by laughter, colors, beauty, music, dancing. That's what I like to do, and I love to create. So just do that, and the rest will follow.
Yeah. Yes, and you know that, and you can see you can.
I'm also 300 years old.
There you go. Well, you're not, but congratulations.
No, you're 299. You're not there yet. Don't push it. Come on, wait till you get there.
But my point is that that, and I didn't figure it out really until now. I mean, I could have told you I like to make things.
Yeah.
But really in my standby mode, when you close your eyes, who you are, what you like, what your go-to is, I just figured it out. You know?
That's part of the journey, baby.
Isn't it? Yeah.
100% that's part of the journey.
I love that whole standby mode area. Because
that's
almost,
what we're in.
It's like a meditation. It's like an idling meditation. Yeah. You can even go deeper with and even deeper. Like in the mornings, I like to spend, 2 or 3 minutes maybe where I am literally meditating. This morning I just focused on, this may sound macabre and weird, but it's a meditation that a lot of masters have done, which is you imagine yourself, your body, as being dead. Okay.
And then what do you do with that?
And then it's you see and you imagine the world. And then the consciousness that you are, which is eternal, is seeing the world in that way, and you witness the world, the earth. I'm looking at the earth. I'm seeing it still in space that way.
Okay.
And I'm just not there. I'm just witnessing. It only takes a few seconds. It adjusts your whole perspective.
But
and then you come back.
It depends. I really think to get to that point, you have to do some work first, because when I sit here and listen to you, what I think of is my children crying without their mother.
Yeah,
like I'm not in that place to see that in a positive way.
I know what you mean, but it forces you to see the world, that the world is a benevolent place. It forces you to see that your children are taken care of. Everything is fine, because when you visualize the earth from 10,000 or however far away.
Right, your Google Earth moment.
My Google Earth moment. It's all still. It seems so peaceful. Yes. Everything is at peace and beautiful. Yeah. And that's the desired effect. And that is the place where you could find that idling inspiration. That's the place where all the other mishigas is out the door, and you can actually focus on what your light is actually doing unobscured.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I find it all fascinating, because I've had that goal since 8 years old, right? And then the time after it, who am I without that goal? Who am I when I've next? You know, it's very interesting. And I think people struggling with, because I know a lot of people, I'm friends with on Facebook with them, who are now like, you know, I'm 30 or whatever, and I'm not happy where I am, or I'm a mom, but now what? Or this. Right. I think it's a very common thing. Yeah. Once you are at a place in life to think, well, like, what really am I? You know, I think it's a universal thing, and I love the idea of. I've come to peace with my idea of like when I'm idling, when I'm standby, who am I? But I love the idea of trying to like look back and finding peace in that. Looking at that. Yeah.
Well, we are all here. We are all seekers. We came here to seek and to find. And some people are so married to the problem rather than the solution. They are literally idling, and they don't move. They don't move further.
Or married to their fear.
And I'm
married to their fears.
Yeah, and I get that.
You're one of them.
You know how. Through the years, I will always sit in my fear because I don't want to let it go.
I have kicked your ass about that.
Amen.
Shit.
And I've come a long way. And this is not a shameless plug at all, but really that's what the book is all about. You're talking about these women that are stuck or these people that are stuck. It's not just women. The book's written for girls and gays.
Yes. Yeah.
But without it, the whole point in writing that was it's not an autobiography. Yeah. It's how I got to where I am, but how many times people have told me I can't do it, I'm not good enough, or I came into this world knowing that all I ever wanted to be was on Broadway, an actress, a performer, a talk show host, all of that stuff, an entertainer, and how everybody tried to keep me down. And it's all about chasing your dreams, finding who you are, empowering yourself. Don't let them stop you. That's what it's about. And because Ru has kicked my ass several times on not choosing that moment in fear, which is so easy for us to go to, that's what motivated me to write the book.
Diva Rules. When
Diva
does it come
Rules,
out?
It's
November 10th, but that's really not what I was
I know.
But it is what I mean. It is all roads lead to this conversation because we're talking about movement. We're talking about navigating life, and sometimes we get stuck. And being stuck is part of it.
And confused.
Confused. But I believe that some of the processes, like what Michelle was describing, with going into a fear place or going to you can jump over that old action and go straight to. Oh yeah, I know exactly what to do. And even the 40 days, 40 nights that you said you took at, you can it could be 40 minutes, it could be 40 seconds.
Yes, Moses.
It's up to you. It's up to you. It's true.
And do you know what's so funny too? I just had like a vision of like in 20 years, like listening to this, and being like, for starters, how cool that I know them. And then two, like, I'll so be like, what were you worried about? Did you remember these like major hurdles in your life back in the day that were so crucial? And then now you're just like, oh my God, I was just like being silly.
In 20 years, Ru and I will be in Palm Springs doing our double act at Toucan. So catch us.
My gosh, if I could produce it, please.
Yes. I have a dream of taking over the Follies, but I just wanted in Palm Springs.
Yes.
But it's funny you said that because, and I've said this many times, my 10th grade drama teacher said to me, and I was going through a lot of stuff. I was going to get kicked out, yada, yada. He said, RuPaul, my real name, don't take life too seriously. He said that to me, and I had no idea what he was talking about. But boy, do I now.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Do you know if that teacher's still around?
Oh no, I'm still in touch with him.
Seriously?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God, he's not dead?
No, he was. This is the thing. This is 1976, and he was 26, and he had gone to that school. He had come out here to Hollywood to pursue an acting career, had studied with Lee Strasberg.
Wow.
Yes. And then he, I don't know what happened, but he moved back to Atlanta.
You know what happened? This city's a bitch.
Yeah. He moved back to Atlanta, took a job at his old high school, taught drama for a couple of years. Maybe it was just that 1 year. And then he became a lawyer after that.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah.
As you do.
He got a real career.
He got a real career.
Like a lawyer on television? I'm confused.
Yes.
Is he on the good one?
His name is Matlock.
Well, you know him better as Matlock.
Yeah. Oh my God, Andy Griffith was your teacher!
Oh, it's so funny. Tell him I'm a big fan.
Yes.
Big
He's
fan.
fabulous. But it's interesting, but all roads lead to that discussion. And the other part of this is that we have to have this discussion because we forget this. Humans forget. That's the whole point of the Orwell's Animal Farm is that the people forget why the animals forgot why they had a revolution in the first place. So you have to have these touchstones, these benchmark touchstones, totems to remind you of where you're going. That's why the Wizard of Oz resonates so much. Don't we always talk about the Wizard of Oz?
Yeah. Because it's almost like a biblical moment.
It really is
for us.
Yeah. But having those friends who can remind you of who you really are.
Yeah, and they're always with you for truth.
My best friend Tater, I call her Tater Tot. Her name is Taya. We've been best friends since I was in 7th grade. She was in 8th grade. And she has written everything with me, collaborated on my book, the talk show. She's on the podcast. She's on the Sirius XM show. She's there. And I couldn't imagine a world where she wasn't there to tell me when I was being wrong. Yeah. When I was being right. You know what I mean? To have my back. You're so lucky, Michelle. You were talking about Ru pushing you at those moments when you fear. Aren't we so lucky to have people like that?
Yeah. We're so lucky.
I hope these kind of conversations that we have in a room with each other really helps people do that too. When
there's
they listen
a lot
to
of kids out there who feel, and they talk to us about it, how they don't have those people. But really, guys, you only need one. Yeah. It's nice to have more than one, but you only need one. And you also have to be open to hear and receive the same way, just like anything else. So when that person is there for you in every way, listen to what they're saying. You don't have to take everything as gospel, but try to hear what they're saying so you can understand it. And you only need one.
And if you have more than one, make them compete to win.
Yes! Right? You hear that, Carson
Kressley? Yeah, where's he? No. Just kidding. We love Carson.
No, it's perfect. But it's a great point. That's why books. Michelle's book Diva Rules, which is out now. I mean, it has all of those practical things that you need to remember, keep in your arsenal to do that. Because not everybody has a best friend or the people you can go to. But this is not a new path. The tools are out there. And you have a book. You wrote a book.
I did write a book. Thank you so much. I'm working on a second one. The first book was called Man Up.
It's a very good book.
I'm really proud of it.
Is Man Up on Audible? Did you do that?
Yes, I recorded it myself in Palm Springs.
Oh my goodness!
Start mine tomorrow.
We are good friends. We're good friends with Audible.
Yeah, we are.
You could go and get Man Up at audible.com.
Yes, you absolutely can, and it's me reading it, and I tell stories. I define Man Up as celebrating what makes you unique.
Yes.
I think, to Michelle's point, I think some people are afraid of what makes them unique, or they hide it, or they're ashamed of it.
Or they bury it. They let it go. They forget about it.
But to the point of when we first started, when I was on Leno, what made me stand out, right, was what made me stand out.
Yes.
And I think about it, and I don't write this in the book, but I think about when you walk on a beach, right, and there's all these rocks, the one you pick up is the one that looks a little different, is the one that hasn't been worn down by the waves to look like every other rock, right?
Yes.
True.
And I think if you can let what makes you different sort of shine, people are going to notice whatever it is you want to do. So not to be too hippy dippy, but that's how I define it. And so the book is times when I have and times when I haven't. And I have made many, 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 many mistakes. But I also have, for some reason, in that fork in the road of choosing between hating myself or being all in, and it was that clear for me, I chose all in, right? As many times as I could. So the book is funny. Gwyneth Paltrow wrote the foreword. Chelsea Handler wrote the afterword, and it's available everywhere now.
I love it. And Michelle, we're going to take a break right now, but you're going to record yours tomorrow?
Start it tomorrow.
Do vocal exercises, because it is an ordeal.
I know it is.
Do you going to do warm-up things before?
I have a little warm-up that I do when I sing, but yeah.
Wow.
Could you show me what it is? Could I do it real quick?
It's 20 minutes. I can send it to you.
Oh, okay.
You could follow it.
I would do it.
I'll send it to you. I have it on my phone.
For real?
I swear to God. I do it before every time.
Picture me in the car.
That's what it is. It's very loud.
That's right. Hey, we're going to take a real quick break, but we'll be right back after this. Hey guys, it's time to talk about Squarespace.
Love it.
Making a website has never been easier. Gorgeous websites, so easy to do. Use their gorgeous, beautiful templates in their simple drag and drop platform. And when you're ready to purchase a plan, get 10% off with the offer code RU. I feel so special to have an offer code named after me. I love that.
It ain't everybody.
Not everybody. That's squarespace.com, offer code RU. Now, we get lots of emails from our gorgeous listeners over here at RuPaulPodcast@gmail.com. Michelle, you got one right over there you want to read?
I do, baby. It's from Jamie Pierce. Jamie Pierce. Ooh, Jamie. Prior to listening to the podcast, I wasn't aware of the fabulousness that is Squarespace. I'm an LGBT stand-up comedian. I've been paying someone else to host and design my website for years. Yeah. It was always such a pain. This is what we're talking about, especially if I had different ideas about design choices or wanted to add new content. So I signed up with Squarespace, cut out the middleman, and now I have a beautiful website that includes all my materials, videos, pictures, press clippings, etc., all of which I can control and change as my fancy strikes. So thank you for bringing the light and laughter into our lives. Everyone needs a guardian Rue and a guardian Michelle on their shoulder, which is exactly what is accomplished by having What's the Tea plugged into your ears. Aw, thank you, Jamie.
I love it. Jamie, what's Jamie's website? Do you have it there?
JamiePierceNYC.com. Thank you for asking. JamiePierceNYC.com.
I love that. It is so easy. Guys, you can get a free trial with no credit card required just by going to squarespace.com. And when you're blown away and ready to confirm a plan, just use the offer code RU. Get 10% off. So easy. Hey, thanks to all the guys over at Squarespace, too, for making this gorgeous site for our creative types, creative people to, have an outlet for people to find them.
You made it special people proof like us. So we could do it.
So go on over to squarespace.com and use the offer code RU. We are back with our special guest, Ross Mathews. Boy, this has been fun. We've been talking about everything, all the important things.
Yes.
Because in all of us, really, against all odds, we have, cut a path for ourselves in show business, which is very cookie cutter.
It is. And, listen, we get to laugh all day. We get to have fun. But I am fascinated on why I get to sit in the room with you, why you guys get to be in this room. It is why us and not others.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm just endlessly fascinated with that because there are so many people who would give anything to sit here and talk to you two, and I'm so grateful.
Well, I think it has to do with energy. I think it has to do with a frequency. We talked about the light or whatever you want to call it. If you can broadcast it or beam it with unobstructed, I think that's when you have a better chance of doing it. In fact, I write the foreword in Michelle's book, The Diva Rules, and I've seen this girl just be a powerhouse. I've seen her always land on her feet, and she's got this insatiable thirst and hunger to be heard, and her force. It has been uncanny watching her over the years. And that's why whenever she's ever doubted herself, I'm like, are you crazy? Let me tell you who you are,
Can I say something?
Yes.
I wish I could Instagram this moment because the look on Michelle's face as you're talking about her is the sweetest thing I've ever seen.
It's the only time you'll ever see it.
So true.
No, but you look like a little girl in that way that you being so important to her and your acknowledgement of this feeds you so much. And I'm so happy to see that. That's 100%. So cute. Because you're so vulnerable. Look at this.
No, it brings tears to my eyes. I just received an Icon Award in Glasgow, Scotland it's the Ally, the straight.
As you do.
Well, it's the first one I ever got, and I honestly, when I did my little speech thing, I was like, I don't understand why I'm being rewarded. For me, ally means friend. Why am I being rewarded to be somebody's friend?
Yeah.
But it seems like something we should do in our sleep. But Rue did something that I didn't know was coming, which was in drag. He did a little speech to me and said what he said about me, and I'm sitting there and everybody's watching me, and I'm like, I don't have tears left. And as tears are kind of welling up in my eyes, it's just a moment of, I've been with my friends since I've known Rue since I'm 18 years old and been working with Rue professionally since I'm 26. And to have gone through what we've gone through, Rue saw me meet my boyfriend, who's now my husband. Rue's seen me through pregnancies and children.
The moving
job,
from
and
East Coast, West Coast.
Picked me up at the airport when I moved here with a 9-day-old baby when everything fell apart with our travel. And just to have a friend by your side through all that who believes in you. My mother's dead, and my dad believes in me, but my mother was my confidant. So not that Rue's my mother, but to have somebody who believes in me as much as my mother did, if not more, because Rue knows this industry, whereas Arlene didn't know jack shit. But she was there no matter what. Rue would be there no matter what. And it's a pretty awesome feeling because it doesn't happen many times in a lifetime.
Right.
It doesn't.
It goes to what you were saying. I think once you are your authentic self, your people, your frequency, they can find you. It is like a beacon. And you have to be your authentic self for those people to find you. And that's what, and I talk about this with people auditioning, you know, and if people who are auditioning for me. I want to see who you are, because if you're not good right for this part or whatever, I want to remember you for the next thing, and I will remember you.
Yeah, you will.
But if you're being something that you think that I want you to be, I can't see that, and it will not impress me.
Don't you think even on Drag Race, as we sit on that judges panel, I mean, there are people, they are in drag, they're playing characters in drag sometimes. You know, there's much different levels of performance. But when we fall in love with them is when they're on the stage and we can see who they are.
Absolutely.
We see their flaws.
Yes.
We see them hurt.
Yeah.
We see them celebrate joy.
Yes.
It's just like Ru said, and we see it all the time. It's just seeing them.
Yeah.
And that's why I think even on, you know, in social media, sometimes the ones that the people online fall in love with may not be the ones that wow us on the runway with their performances.
Totally.
Right.
But there's something about, I mean, Katya, for example, coming across in those interviews and when she's talking about what she's driving the storyline, talking about it, she was so relatable and so funny.
But
and
as we're sitting there judging her on stage,
we can't see that.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
then we watch the show and it's like, oh, now we get it. Now we get it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, but it's because we love them who they are. That is so crucial, being yourself, even when you're performing.
It is very crucial. But, you know, there's, you know, we talk about, I think young people can intellectualize this, but until you own it on an emotional level, you really don't know how to do it. Because the other forces, you know, we live in a consumer culture where everything is, you know, you're not really clean unless you're zestfully clean, you know. So, and it's all sold to you. Everything, all the media is sold to you so you could sell more products. So you have to fight against a huge force that's saying, you're not right the way you are. And the truth is, you are right the way you are.
And sometimes it happens young. Sometimes it happens later in life.
And sometimes it happens young and you forget and then you remember.
Yeah.
Exactly. We have a visitor. We have a guest.
Hi.
This Matt. Hi, you're from the kitchen, aren't you? No, we've got some waters over here in this thing. It's perfectly fine.
Thank
Okay,
you.
what's your name?
My name is Aurelio.
Aurelio.
That's right. Anything you need, just let me know. Okay?
Oh, is it like Arturo?
Arturo, Aurelio. Arturo is my brother.
Aurelio.
Arturo.
Aurelio.
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 How do you- what is that? What does that? What is? How do you say?
In English, I don't think it translates to anything, does it? Aurelio.
Aurelio.
Aurelio. Aurelio.
Is that like okay?
Aurelio.
Aurelio.
Right.
Oh, Aurelio.
Gringo version is Aurelio.
Thank you.
And you would
Thank
say
you.
gracias.
Yes, gracias.
Thank you, Rosetta Stone.
We're, of course, recording this in the conference room of a hotel here in
Yes.
West Hollywood.
Yes. As one does.
As one does.
After I tricked for 3 hours. Thanks. Thank you for making me pay for parking.
My partner is Mexican. His family's from Mexico, and so he's constantly speaking Spanish, and I can't any.
Have you learned
do it.
any?
No, I learned how to say dirty wet rag. Because Sal thinks laundry that stays in the
He's right.
in the laundry too long.
Yeah.
If you don't,
He's
put
right.
it in the dry, it does toyo mojado. So he goes, toyo mojado.
Okay,
like
now
a dirty
I want to
mom.
learn that.
Yeah.
Toyo.
What?
Look how I say it.
By the way, you're going to teach him Spanish
right.
now. Have
Oh,
fun.
I'm probably saying it wrong.
Go ahead.
Is it Toyo Morado?
Mojado's right.
Toyota Mikado.
Okay.
No.
Toyota Mercado. By the way, that's somebody's drag name right now. You can take it, but give the credit to Ross, Toyota Mercado. So when we see you on Drag Race 10 and Toyota Mercado shows up, you know where it came from. Toyota.
Oh my God! I'm from San Diego. I should
Toyota?
be able.
Yes.
Sachet. You...
Sachet, you stay Toyota. Oh my God.
Okay, wait a minute. Now, can you remember how it said Toyo?
Toyo Mojado.
Wait.
That's what he
say it
says.
slower.
Like, I'm saying it completely. Do you want me to get him
Yes,
on?
please.
Yeah, get him on the phone.
Toyo is not Spanish.
Because my Spanish, I can say "Cómo se llama."
Very good.
I can say wait a minute. Okay, ¿cómo
I can
se
say lick
llama?
my asshole.
Oh.
Please tell me how you
Can
say
you
it.
say it in Spanish?
Would you like to hear it in Spanish? While Ross calls Salvador?
Yeah.
Lámbeme el roto del culo.
Oh my God.
Wait, say it again.
Lámbeme,
Lámbeme,
lámbeme
lámbeme,
el roto
roto
del
del
culo.
Hi.
culo.
Yes.
Yeah,
So I have Salvador on the phone.
yeah,
I'm going to put
yeah,
you on
Salvador,
speaker.
yeah.
You're here with RuPaul and Michelle Visage.
Hi, Salvador.
Yeah, and you're being recorded.
Oh my God, what's the tea?
Hi. Listen, so I was just telling them that I could say dirty wet rag in Spanish, but I feel like I'm saying it wrong. I'm saying toallo mojado.
Toalla mojada.
Mojada. What's the first word?
Toalla.
Toalla mojada?
Is there a D? Are you saying toalla?
They could be a T. That
Toalla.
Spell it, Salvador. The first word.
Toalla.
Spell.
Can you spell it?
I don't think I can.
No.
Toalla.
Some Mexican you are,
Yeah.
Salvador.
Maybe it's like slang. I don't know.
Toalla.
But it means dirty wet rag, right? Sal?
Yes, it does.
Is there any other Spanish that you can remember that I know? Because I don't remember.
Toalla mojada. Let's see.
Does he know tengo hambre? Do you know I'm hungry?
No, I don't know I'm hungry. That one, because I'm never hungry because I'm always eating. That's about it. That's all I know. But we just wanted to make sure I was saying that one right. All right, babe. What does Toyota Mercado mean? No, I love you. I'll see you at home later.
Bye, Salvador.
I wish I spoke Spanish. I'm terrible at. But so I think the only thing I can say is como se llama. Okay. I had another one. Oh no, it's como está. I just said that?
Yeah, that's right. How are you?
Yes.
And then como se llama is what's your name?
Correct.
So I knew two things.
I know this one from the strip club in Puerto Vallarta.
Ooh.
He goes, pasivo? Which
What
means,
is
are you a bottom?
Oh, shut up. I mean, perfect. Who could ask for better? I mean, and what else do you need to know?
Well, you don't need to know anything else.
It.
I think that's it right there.
My God, I'm
taught you
laughing
to
so
say-
hard. I'm sweating.
Yeah, me too.
in
I
here.
taught you how to say lick my asshole, and now
Yeah.
you said, are you a bottom?
Yeah, I'm sure the people listening, there's so many people who speak Spanish. It's terrible. I don't know why listen, I can barely speak English. I'm telling you it right now.
That is not true.
I can barely speak English. So, and my mother spoke French. French was her first language. She's from
Really?
Louisiana. Yep.
So do you speak any French?
None.
Mm-mm.
Zero.
But I will say, you have to work on retaining it. I took 6 years of French. We just came back from Paris. My husband made fun of me because I had no idea what
Did
they
you
were
try? You tried?
Yeah, I tried. I have like vocabulary words here and there. I can get to the bank. I can get to a library. But of course,
Well, reading is fundamental.
Amen.
Yeah.
But the point is, if you don't stay on top of it, you're going to lose it.
Right.
I took Latin in high school, so I can
That's
read
useful.
a quarter.
Dollar bill.
E pluribus unum.
Yeah,
you
well,
know?
that's good for Jeopardy, though.
It's
It
good
is.
for Jeopardy. It's
Yeah.
good for the. I watch every episode of The Good Wife, so I'm basically a lawyer, and I
Yeah.
understand a lot of what they say.
Agreed. Carpe diem.
Yeah, I'm
and then,
seasoning.
pro bono.
Yeah, but no, it's It's a Oh, that was boner.
I don't know.
I am pro boner.
Yes, me too. Pro hack vice.
Well, I'm pro, Sonny Bono.
Yeah.
Chaz Bono.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah.
Of course we are.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So now you've got the book, you've got the podcast.
Yes.
And
your little show, your juggernaut,
Yes.
I get to be on as well.
Drag Race, which you're so fabulous
Thank
on.
you.
And so you are working on another book.
Yeah, I am. The Straight Talk brand has been really successful for me. And I love doing it. It happened to me at the right time, and it just I've really fallen into it. Being the gay best friend you wish you had, you need. We give it
Yes.
to you straight.
Yes.
So we do that on the podcast. We have wonderful conversations, and then the call-in show is on Sirius, where people can call in, and I'm like the Dr. Laura, but higher pitched, and not horrible.
Thank you for adding that
You're
latter
welcome.
part.
So we do that on the show, and I really like. So the book is kind of inspired by that. I would love to do a straight talk book, and then we've talked to Brew. I talked to you about this. This is the dream project. One day would be to remake the Straight Talk movie.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, what
Yes.
a
I
great
told him when
movie.
I was on his show, I told him that since that movie came out, which is 91, 92, I have been recasting it
Yes.
because James
your head?
Woods, in my mind, in my mind's eye,
Yeah.
James Woods was so wrong for it.
Which you are so right. I never
Yeah.
thought about before, but you're totally right.
Because Dolly Parton, because she's so drag queena,
Yeah.
she needs a co-star who is also a male version of drag queena.
And
John Travolta.
Well, no,
The person you said was the most brilliant idea ever.
Okay.
And now I'll back up and let you say it.
Well, the thing is, it worked for her in, the Burt Reynolds movie because Burt Reynolds is such a
Right.
iconic
Yes.
drag, and even with Sylvester Stallone, even though they didn't really have a lot of chemistry together. I'm going to sneeze, but
Bless you.
I said, I think Tom Selleck, didn't I?
You said Burt Reynolds or Tom Selleck.
Yeah.
Burt Reynolds can't do it.
Because of the whorehouse?
Well, we're talking 1991.
No, but we're talking back then.
You mean back then?
Recasting back then.
Yeah.
Well, no, my version I want to do now, ready? So I'm Dolly Parton's character, okay?
Right.
I'm this gay from the South who just I can't get together. So I leave for the big city and I can't get a job. So I get a job as a receptionist at the radio station, right? And then I'm searching for the coffee one day and they go, "You're on." They think I'm the reception or the new
talk show host.
Show host, the psychologist on air. And I'm, what? I'm on? What am I talking? Someone's on the phone. I go, "Well, honey, you need to leave him." And the calls start pouring, and we love that new Dr. Shirley, right? But it's me, but my voice is high, so they think I'm Dr. Shirley. So then they make a character, like a caricature of a Dr. Shirley, and it's a big success, but I have to juggle with, but am I really being my authentic self if everyone thinks I'm a woman, and da-da-da.
Oh my God, I love
who's the
that.
The male character. Who would it be now? Because I'm thinking it'd be a Netflix series, right?
Yes.
This is all kind of a joke, but kind of totally serious. Yeah. So who would we cast as my love interest?
As your love. Okay, let me think about this. It would have to. I think it would be a big black man.
Yes.
And I'm thinking.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I think you're totally right.
It would be someone who you want to see you with, someone who's got a lovely. It wouldn't be what's his name, Anderson.
Ving Rhames.
No, it wouldn't be. It's got to be someone who's lovely and it wouldn't be Anderson. What's his name? Anderson from Blackish.
If he was still alive,
Anthony Anderson.
What about?
Yeah, it wouldn't be him.
What about if he was still alive from the Green Mile? Michael Clark Duncan.
Oh yes,
Green Mile age.
That's the exact right casting.
Yes,
that's the exact right casting. Because there's a gentle giant. He's a gentle giant.
Yeah. Also deceased.
Well, he's deceased, but
so
we're
Well, how deceased is he? I mean,
true.
Can we still get him?
Can we do an exhuming?
No.
Yes.
But that kind of energy, yes.
I love that.
Right?
It's great. It's perfect. And that's how casting is done. You have to go with what the collective consciousness sees, the narrative that we've all agreed to as the collective consciousness.
Yeah, I love that.
If you weren't on camera, you would be great at casting.
You know what? I want to do, you would.
You really, you could still do it in addition to, but you would have been just a great casting director.
Casting.
The truth is that, drag has afforded me the ability to do show business in all different areas as a producer, as casting and writing and doing everything, making music, you name it. So I've loved career so much. But, in my twilight years, darling, when the calendars are in bloom.
Yes. Yeah.
Go pick some strawberries.
Exactly. Maybe,
Asburies.
Maybe that's, what my forte is, just really being behind the scenes and doing. Because the thing is, I have been paying attention to the whole narrative since the beginning.
You've always had a passion for that. Even back when you first started and we started working together, Ru always had this kind of secret weapon in when we would interview people on the radio, which was always who would play you in the story of your life. Like Ru always casts in Ru's head.
Yes.
Always done that.
I ask that to people on the subway. I ask that to people all the time.
Yeah.
And they'll tell me a story saying, my neighbor, she comes out and says, wait, who would play her? And it's not just in physical, but in total concept. In aura, everything combined.
You need that picture.
I need that picture.
Yeah.
And, most people can't play that game, but, I know Ross Mathews can play that game.
Nathan Lane would play me in any scenario.
Oh my God, yes! Oh my God, yes! He's a bit too old, but yes! That persona. Who would play you?
Even if they did like my childhood story, Nathan Lane would play me in overall.
Right.
As a 10-year-old.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the closest person to come to me who would play me would be Raven Simone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, Giselle Bundchen would play me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I knew that. You didn't even have to say that, Michelle.
Obvious.
She always says what we're thinking.
Yes, it's my job.
Well, we have had so much fun with you, Ross Mathews. Thank you for being on the show.
I have to tell you, and anybody listening understands, when I said earlier that I'm just grateful to be in this room, I still can't believe I know you two. So thank you so much for having me.
We love you right back. And continued success with everything that you do. I want to go to Audible and get your audiobook.
Get my book, Diva Rules. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, that's Michelle's book. Man Up is mine.
Man Up.
And please check out the podcast. We're talking to podcast people who get it, who know where to click. What's a podcast? Not those people. So please check out Straight Talk with Ross. Both Michelle and Ru have been on my show. Great guests. Thank you for coming in.
Great show.
Thank you, Ross.
Honey.
And for everybody out there, Michelle, well, that's it.
That's it.
All right.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? If you can't love love yourself, how in the hell you gonna love somebody else? Can I get an amen?
And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes.
If you can't love yourself, how in the hell you gonna love somebody else? Amen.